Hey, Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve cast. It's another Juventus match day, and it's Juventus versus Fiorentina, our last Serie A match before another international break. And I've got Luca with me. I've got Omar with me. Guys, how you doing today?
All good, all good. Fantastic Saturday.
Yeah, it's sunny outside and it's a good start to the day. Let's hope it continues that way because Juventus plays today. Anything could happen.
You betcha. And we got Luis with us. We got Bob with us, of course. Anthony rocking it there in the live chat, and expect much more to jump on here. Of course, it's early morning where I'm from, and yeah, I still get jacked up all the time, all the time. Love a Juve match day. We've got one of the rivalry matches. Not so much ever really been a heated rivalry from Juve's side of things, but really a lot from Fiorentina. We'll cover that in our trivia, which is always a lot of fun. Bob's calling for the 3 points. Absolutely. Absolute must for Juventus. Got to get this 3 points, finish off strong before the break. We're going to talk first about just a couple of the news points that hit this week, and then we'll get into this particular matchup. So, Dybala to sign after the international break. We've heard this before many times, but not the contract that I want to get your thoughts on. Something that we talked about on the last podcast, and then there was a lot of comments on YouTube about Dybala, and people seeing a side of him they didn't think he was capable of recently, and that's just the maturity that Allegri spoke about in the press conference prior to this one, and Dybala taking that next step. Did you guys not believe, like, where did you stand on Dybala as a captain? Where do you stand now? Do you see a big change in him? Do you think it's sustainable from his part? Do you think it's right for us to continue to lead with him at the focal point of this project? Let's get your thoughts on Paulo recently. Let's kick it off with Omer.
Paolo is amazing recently. I really like watching him play. It looks like he did take some sort of a step forward because he was a youngster for a long time, some young prospect, so he was forgiven for a lot of things. And then Ronaldo came and sort of didn't work out as we planned. But it looks like he did take that next step, and he looks more focused and less sulking, if you will. But he always has this big shadow of a leader above him, if it's Buffon or Chiellini or Bonucci, and didn't feel like he's the one, like he needs to take that role, but he took it anyway, and I'm pleased with it. It looks awesome, and I hope he continues this way. Hopefully, no injuries, because he looks on fire right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Luca, your thoughts?
You know what? This conversation I think came up when I was on one of the earlier pods, couple maybe weeks, beginning of the season. And my thoughts are the same as they were then. I think he has some attributes of a leader. At that point, we didn't see them all. Now I think we're starting to see a lot more of it. But I think there's no fixed characteristics that makes one a leader. I think a lot of them are, just based on what everyone expects. But I think he took that burden, he put it on his shoulders. He smartened up in terms of just his maturity on the pitch, and I think skill wise, we knew he could do it. Just in terms of getting all the focus and taking that pressure, he could do it. It was just a question of becoming that man and really dictating the feel on the pitch between the boys. And I really think he's stepped up a lot more than I expected him to. I'm really glad, but I never doubted him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things too, as Luis comes in here and says, with every match, Paulo seems to grow more and more into this captain's armband. I can't help but think it's just a major, major part is the fact that this is the first time it almost feels like the club is truly backing him, and behind him as far as in terms of doing this, right? Because this has been highlighted many, many times with Paulo's tenure at Juventus, and it's the fact that we had a couple opportunities to do what we're doing now, and that's make him a focal point, and we kind of went a different direction in those couple opportunities that we had. And I can't help but feel that now it's starting to come together, and it's not such a one-sided relationship where Paulo was looking to be moved even a couple summers, whatnot, and he was fighting to stay for the club and everything like that. And now it feels like it's all coming together, right? And that's gotta play a huge, huge part for Dybala. The fact that Allegri comes back, quickly names him as his captain, and quickly says we're going to build around Paulo. Massive, massive backing from Allegri, and yeah, it's great to see. So this contract thing, we'll see what happens. We've heard that before. That's going to get signed next week, but we'll see what ends up happening. Bob comes in here. If his health is sustainable over any matches, he won't regress. Pray for his maturing muscles, or he will be in a struggle personality-wise. Again, of course, absolutely. It pained him deeply. You could see after last injury, and it was mainly because of how much work you saw Paulo put in the off season with his training and whatnot. But yeah, he's absolutely, knock on wood, that Paulo stays fit. Luca.
Yeah, I want to touch on this one because I believe it was one of the pressers that Max said, I think after last game. I'm not sure if it was after Zenit or in between. He touched on how hard Paulo had worked just to get back from this last injury, this most recent one. And that's where he was really touching on his maturity, how he just put his head down. He's working a lot harder to come back from these injuries. So just that will, that motivation that he has, I think that's one of the biggest strengths right now he has. It's a mental thing and a physical thing. I mean, yes, injuries, there's a lot of things we can't control, but I think the mental aspect of it is the most important part for a lot of our players nowadays. And he's got that. And for Max to pinpoint it and to highlight it in a presser too, it shows really what Paulo's able to do now. And you know what? I don't want to, I'm knock on wood. I hope he doesn't get hurt again. But if he does, he's willing to put the work to come back. He's not someone who's just going to give up mentally anymore. So very, very hopeful for his future.
There you go. Omar, you wanted to touch on something as well?
Yeah, Dybala, I don't see a lot of things not to like about him. Is just a fun player to watch, and I really believe that the best teams had like leaders in every area of the pitch. Like let's take for example Chelsea. You had Terry, Lampard, and Drogba, and those are the guys that make everything come together. And if you have one in each department, it's very good for the team. So defense was never an issue for us. And when Dybala came, he had Mandzukic and Higuain, and there was Pirlo before and Marquisio, and now we're sort of lacking in that area because Ronaldo never took that role, and suddenly Dybala is surrounded by youngsters, players with less experience than him, and maybe that is what taking all this new things out of him that we didn't see before. And hopefully it will continue and he will understand his role with these youngsters because they all look up to him right now. He's already a legend in Serie A. So I hope it just continues this way because it's not an easy job to do, but I'm sure he can.
There you go. Now, another piece of news is Bernardeschi and his contract, the renewal, half the fees. Apparently, Bernardeschi is unhappy. So this was an interesting one because earlier on in the season, it came up again. 2.5 million for Bernardeschi a season, and a lot of fans were distraught about that. And I can't see how at 2.5 million a guy like Bernardeschi is invaluable to the lineup, to the roster. I can't get behind that. But now after you see the versatility and what he can do, and he had a great game against Zenit there. If he can keep it rolling at that, he's kind of in the right to want that full pay, is he not?
He's got to continue that, like
But that's what I'm saying. If he can
you're
keep it
right.
at that level
Yeah,
and give us
exactly.
what we're not getting out of some of the other guys, I mean, hell, 2.5 would be better at that point if he can continue that on and be consistent. That's the big question. But that question circulates around a lot of our guys, and still, setup might be in question. But 2.5 is a no-brainer. When you get to 5, if he continues, let's say he consistently performs at that level, are you comfortable with giving him the 5?
The 5 is
That's what I'm saying.
maybe
It's interesting. It's
it's
interesting.
maybe a bit much, but once again, you look at the Ramses and Rabios of your team.
Exactly.
Okay, and I challenge anyone to find me another player who's willing to take that role. He's okay with the sub role and sometimes, starting games, but players don't usually go that way. They either want full time gig or just sitting on the bench in some rich club and making huge salary. But he's okay with just, coming up here and there, not being a regular in the starting 11. That's a tough thing to find in a player, and it's valuable since he's brought up his game recently. It's not just the game against Zenit; it was good for a lot of games this season. But 5 million is difficult to call.
It's tough. I don't think, if we're going at the 4.5, 5 million, and then again, we kind of said it right there. If he can be consistently in the mix and part of our top 11, 5 millions, honestly, it's fine if he can solidify himself as a starter. Is he going to solidify himself as a starter? That's up to him and to see whatnot. Right now, though, that 11 looked pretty balanced and pretty strong against Zenit, but it's only one match, and we can't base it off one match. You got to base it off the course of a season, so we'll have to see. But 5 million is quite a bit. 4.5, 5 million, it's quite a bit. And again, I do agree with you, Omar. It's going to be hard to find somebody that's going to be happy to take on that role or whatnot. But if that's the role, that role does not, it shouldn't be at 5 million euros for that type of player, right? Your rotational guy. The other guy that falls in that mix is Quadrado now. Quadrado is still up for renewal. Earlier on, it was a no-brainer to say, yes, you extend him and everything. He's had significant struggles this season outside of the opening few matches. So now you look at a guy like him as well. Is that immediately still an automatic extension that we need to do? Like these guys, it's tricky with these guys, right? And I always say you got to wait it out because these particular extensions, wait to see how the season unfolds. Wait to see what develops and what happens, because previously Juve got into trouble. And what were they doing? They were re-signing guys immediately. Like you had Matuidi fall under that. You had Mandzukic fall under that. You had Kadira fall under that. And this team just needs to take it easy, relax, ride it out. Let the players know, though, hey, we're just, because sometimes it can be seen as a sign of kind of bad will from the club by not doing that, right? Or like showing some reluctancy. But you have to weigh this out. But the Bernardeschi one is interesting because 2.5 right now as it sits is perfectly fine. I never had an issue before, and I don't have an issue now. Again, agreeing with Omar. 5 mil, if he can solidify himself as one of those starting 11, yes. If he can't, probably not from me. You guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The dog agrees. Yeah.
Omar's dog agrees with me, and he's the mascot of all Juve cats. So we're
Yeah,
good with
a
that.
lot of dogs.
Quadrado, where are you guys with Quadrado?
Oof.
Automatic renewal or
No,
Pump the brake.
no. I think I think Lucci might have brought it up last pod. I'd say give him a year with the possibility of another and see how it goes because, I mean, you touched on it, Al. He hasn't looked the same for a bit now. Like, yes, he was one of our most creative players, but once you cut him off from taking those one-on-ones, which he has been lacking, his strongest point becomes, that ability to cross a deadly ball in. But if we don't have, let's say, McKennie on the field, we have no aerial threat for him to aim at. I mean, Morata is not as what he used to be anymore, too, in the air. So Cuadrado is becoming less and less, I'm going to say, advantageous to us on that wing because, I mean, look at the header, the guys getting the headers in. It's McKennie, maybe Morata, and I mean, Kulusevski got one goal, but I mean, that was, that was just a fluke. So, in my opinion, I say wait a bit, give him a year, maybe possibility of second. Don't give two right away. I feel like it's too much at the moment.
Uh, Cuadrado is an interesting topic because, well, he isn't young and he isn't as versatile as Bernardeschi, which is also important. A player with those traits is willing to sit on the bench and can play almost all over the pitch. We should look at what the alternatives are to Cuadrado because filling in for him might be not as hard as it seems. We already have Chiesa and Kulusevski on the roster who play the same role up front, and let's say Danilo and Deschilio. And I find it hard to get rid of Deschilio more than Cuadrado, but like getting rid of Kulusevski might generate more money. So if one is staying, then one has to leave. You just have to make their calculation based on the rest of the season. It's too early to judge who should stay and who should go.
Yeah.
But if we're aiming to bring someone new, then Kulusevski is the one to sell. He'll generate more money. And I think Cuadrado is just fatigued from traveling to South Africa and back, and now again. And we'll wait by January when the dust settles down and see how he does then.
I think Cuadrado is still an extension you make if you're Juve. Age, all that, whatnot. Couple years, I'd be fine with it at his age and stuff. 2 year, nothing more, and not crazy on the salary thing. There's a couple good points here too. I want to touch on that came in through the live chat. Eric says an interesting comment. I want to see if you guys agree. Without looking at his previous years, Eric doesn't believe there'd be any fuss about his wages at around the 4.5 million level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
Depending
now,
on these recent performances, yes. Right? Like looking at him like most recently where he made the most impact. Even earlier on in the season, I'd probably say 4.5 is tough, but as of late, yeah, he's playing at that level. I'd be comfortable with it. Can he keep it going? The other good point, Haneen says 2.5 with the rest being on incentives. That is fair. That is fair. However, if he's being used as he is now, it's hard to do an incentive based because what numbers are we looking at? Is it team based incentives? Is it individual based incentives? Because if you're
individual has to be.
Because if you're looking at individual, what are we going to look at of where he plays? Because that's another part of his game is that he plays everywhere.
Game started, I guess. I don't know. Minutes played. It is tough.
It's a tough one, right?
Yeah,
it's a tough one. Will Juve sign Vlahovic? We'll talk about Vlahovic. I remember Omar here on our panel making a bold statement saying Haaland will come to Juventus. Omar.
Oh boy.
How strong do you still feel about that bull call on Haaland coming? Guaranteeing us Haaland would come.
Well, a smart person is many people consider a smart person is someone that sticks to his opinion, but a really smart person, soaks in new information and make different judgment calls based on the new information. So yeah, Vlahovic is like a discount Haaland, basically. Alan from Amazon maybe, and I'll be fine with it. It's really hard for me to see because suddenly a lot of teams came in the mix, teams I didn't believe would
So,
be in the mix, and oh, I don't know. It's we can't compete with these guys.
so the thing with
I'm sorry.
Haaland is when Omar made this call, it was amongst all the rumors and stuff, and then numbers came out, and our finances came out, and the picture got more and more bleak. Okay, and now, yeah, Haaland's Vlahovic. The fee Fiorentina is trying to get is 80 million euros. Is that too much? Do you think? Do you think he's worth 80 million euros?
No, we're talking about Vlahovic, right? Oh hell no, hell no. It's the Fiorentina tax. It's because they have to get rid of him mid-season now because he basically said, screw you guys, I don't want to be here anymore. So now they're like, what's the highest amount we can get for an overrated young kid?
Huh.
That's
Omar,
I
you think
mean,
he's worth 80 million euros?
I think he's
But
worth 60. I'm sorry, it's just
well,
I'm sorry to say, I think 60, not 80.
no,
He's not
I
worth
don't
80,
know.
Omar?
It's like Maguire. Does Maguire worth 80? Does Kepa? These price
Exactly.
tags are not realistic. Is he worth that? He might. He might prove to be worth it.
So
Back in
the rumor is 50 to
back in the
55
day,
million euros.
Ronaldo. Some said it wasn't worth 90 million.
So the rumor is 50 to 55 million euros
That's a decent
from
price.
Juventus plus players, even highly touted prospects. So the thing is, for 50 to 55, and if you have to throw some players, potentially prospects, like highly touted prospects, we're starting to look at the Sules or whatnot, potentially the Rovellas. Like, I'm fine with that if you're going to make a move like that, because let's put it this way. Would you rather bring in Vlahovic or keep Morata at 35?
What are you bringing Vlahovic in for? That's the big question,
What do you
right?
mean? A
I
striker?
mean, no, but I'm saying how much. If you're bringing
Vlahovic.
in, if
6
you're
million
bringing,
a year salary, but why does the salary matter? Because you're
it's
going
not
to
about
get
the
rid
salary.
of
No, no,
players anyways.
I'm saying if you're dishing out 80 for Vlahovic and you're putting us in a hole for let's say a season or two, and we can't reinforce anywhere else like we did with Ronaldo, basically, I'd say no, keep Morata and build the rest of the squad. If there's
Okay,
any
but
proof,
we're past the 80 million now. Now this is what I'm saying. The
we're talking
current
about.
rumor is 50 to 55 million euros from Juve, potentially highly touted prospects,
Okay.
or
hmm
keep Morata 35, because
No.
that's a hell of a lot closer.
It's a lot closer, but I think it would also depend on the prospect. Like if it's someone we don't really have need for, like I'm not gonna start. I'm just gonna pick Sule because it's the first guy I think of. Then sure, but if it's a guy like Rovella, like everybody's thinking we need, and it's actually a spot in our lineup that's weak, like the mid area, I'd be a little bit more hesitant on it. That's for sure.
So here's
Uh,
this is interesting. Would you send Rovella or Fagioli to Fiorentina plus 50 million? I would
Anthony
send
would.
Fagioli first
Yeah, Fudge.
for sure, because one's playing in Serie A. But Anthony says he'd rather keep Morata and Rovella. So, to
Yeah.
be honest, with the project we got going here, like I said, to stretch out to one position kind of is like doing what we did previously, is it not? Don't you agree with that, Omar?
mm, yeah, I can agree with that. But I
You
still
make a
let Morata
splash.
go.
Yeah, you make a splash at one spot, and then all of a sudden you're not able to build the rest. And we have to remember midfield, we're trying to get rid of a couple midfielders. Rovella could come in, but Ramsey and Rabiot are kind of on the blocks. McKennie arguably is nobody really knows his future, even though all of a sudden he's on a run. Again, that's why you got to wait things out as the season goes. It's far too early. But
Look,
again,
I think
Vlahovic at 50 to 55 with some players Ooh, that's
it's Tutto Sports.
tight. That's tight.
No,
I'm gonna,
no, it's
tight.
tough
It's
because
tough one. It's not an easy call. Like I mean, if you're 80's out of the question. If a Premier team comes in and plays 80, whatever, take them. Fly at it. 50 to 55 with some prospects is like, okay, that's interesting. That is something you definitely have to consider. But again, a lot of it rests on how much faith you have in the rest of these guys. I think we need to get a left back on this team. Okay. And we still need a high profile midfielder. So there's a lot of work to do. But this is interesting. The Vlahovic one is always interesting. We can't spend any more time on it. We got to move on. History of this fixture. We got Juventus, Fiorentina today, 184 official matches between the two clubs. Rivalry game, mostly for Fiorentina, but we'll touch on why, and I'll kind of explain the rivalry for those who don't really know, okay? This 184 official matches heavily favors Juventus. How many wins for Juventus in this fixture?
How many games total?
184. We'll see what the live chat has for guesses too.
I'm going with 142 for you.
Wow, that's a big majority.
My God, Omar.
That's like a. I'm gonna say like 105.
Wait, should I change my answer based on
No. Stick with it.
Well, I mean, you don't have to change anything. You don't want to. Anthony's going with 123.
That's a real original number.
Real quick, Jose coming in. Hey, guys, first time on the chat, but been listening for a while now. Great show. Hey, it's fantastic. You're able to join us. Spread the word, man. Retweets, share the shows. We love it. Keep trying to grow this community. Glad you can make it with us. 136 from John Stewart.
You guys forget how good Fiorentina used to be.
86 wins for you.
86?
86.
Wow.
That's it? You said it heavily favors Juve.
Yeah, that's a heavy favor. I mean, we've more than doubled their amount of wins.
Yeah, but still,
I'm sorry if I influenced everybody so strongly. I didn't think I had that kind of power.
It's not even half.
Not even half.
The total games.
Yeah, but they've only won, like, Fiorentina's barely won 40, I think. Yeah, they have 40 wins. That heavily favors Juventus.
There's like a lot of draws in there then.
Yeah, we got 58 draws, but I mean, heavily favors Juventus at 86 wins. My God, take it easy, guys. Don't shoot the trivia guy.
No.
Don't drop hints. Just ask the question and answer. Because I would have said like 90 if you haven't said heavily.
For those of you joining us today, Omar takes the trivia seriously. Okay, this guy loves his trivia. He's very, very strong at it, and I will not influence any questions anymore. Okay.
Okay.
So the rivalry kicked off right out of the gate between these two teams. For those that don't know, Juventus got a lot of fans from all over Italy, and the city of Florence, whatever, was very, very prideful, and they took that to heart, and they all stuck behind Fiorentina. And the rivalry sparked with the very first matchup between the two teams. What was the scoreline in that first meeting between Juventus and Fiorentina?
I'm going to say 1-1.
That sparked the hatred.
Oh, I see. You see, that's another hint.
We said no hints, yeah.
Well, I'm going to help you guys on this one, okay?
Okay, it's an absolute bet, but I go with 5-1, Juve. They need a reason to hate us.
We got 3-1 from Moro. We got 5-0 from Anthony. Luca, what do you got?
I'll go to 2-1 for Juve.
That sparked the hatred.
Yeah.
11-0. The first meeting between these two clubs ended in 11-0 victory for Juventus, which fueled the beginning of the hatred coming from the Viola, to Juventus.
But it isn't an official match. Because the highest Juve win in an official match is 9-1 against Inter.
Oh,
11-0. Juventus and Fiorentina first ever match.
I'll check it
19, 19,
where
20.
is in the comment section?
Yeah,
Google that,
20
please.
something.
Anthony, do us all a favor and get on that right now.
1928. It's because it wasn't. You might have been looking up Serie A, but back then it was called Divisione Nazionale.
Oh boy. Thank God they changed that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that might be
No,
where
okay.
that might be
I
where it
still
lies.
win. I
But
still win. I was
it's
closer than
11-0
Luca.
the first time Juve and Fiorentina met officially. Divisione Nazionale 1928. Okay. Now, if we're gonna challenge every question here, we're gonna have a lot of problems. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay with your answers.
Now we go into 81-82, the Scudetto race. It goes down to the last day. Okay. A very, very typical scenario. Okay. Fiorentina has to play a relegation battle team, Cagliari. They can't get the job done. Okay. And they end up drawing the game. Juventus is facing, I believe, Catanzaro. And Catanzaro doesn't get a PK. Juve gets one at the other end. We win 1-0. We win the Scudetto. We're called ladri, okay? Thieves by all Fiorentina, whatnot. That sparks it, fuels it. Then we get to a UEFA Cup final. When was this one? It was the first all-Italian UEFA Cup final. And it was between Fiorentina and Juventus. What year?
We played Bilbao.
Omar, this is all you, buddy.
Whoa.
81-82 was the Scudetto race. That was part of the story. And now we get to a UEFA Cup final. So there's a hint. It's after 81-82.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you for that.
Anthony, 84. Great year, though.
Why? Because I
Great
was
year.
born that year?
Well, Jump came out by Van Halen, Thriller, and Alberto was born.
Yeah, nice year. We had better. I'll go with 85.
85. It was 89-90. So 86 coming in from KM there. 89-90, the first all-Italian UEFA Cup final. Okay.
Lucas, since you didn't give an answer, I win this one too.
Yeah, no, take it.
It was 1-1. A missed call in the eyes of Fiorentina fans had them furious. And then Juventus scores at the other end. They added another one to make it 3-1.
Oh.
This UEFA Cup final was played under two legs. Juventus winning the first one 3-1. What was the score of the second leg?
1-0 Fiorentina.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 Fiorentina.
0-0.
Oh.
Juventus wins the UEFA Cup final. Which player? This was later. This is later on, and this should be a very, very easy one because it's caused a stir amongst Juventini.
Can I answer before you ask?
No.
No. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Which player refused to take a PK against Fiorentina and picked up a scarf that a Viola fan threw down to him?
Oh, I actually don't even know that one.
Really?
My history's not great on this team.
Omar will know this one.
Omar definitely should know this. I would guess, but I don't want to guess.
No, I'm not sure I know that. A Juventus player lifted a Viola.
Refuses to take the PK and picks up a scarf on his way out to from a Fiorentina fan.
I mean, you have to think about who played for both teams.
Remember, I'll go with Baggio.
Yeah,
it was Roberto Baggio.
It was?
Refused to take a PK against Fiorentina on the return trip there.
Yeah.
And supporters threw him scarf. He actually picked one up, put it around his neck.
Wow.
This caused a big stir with the Juventini.
That's big. That's really big.
Now, leading
But
goal
it's Baggio.
scorer in this fixture all time.
Baggio played for both teams.
Yeah, I was gonna
so-
say it has to be him because he played for both.
But I look smirky, so I think Baggio is not the answer.
I look smirky, he says.
I didn't hear that. Oh, God.
And always can be Del Piero. Can be if they play their first game in 1928.
Let's see what the live chat
the-
thinks on the
Paolo
all-time goal scorer.
Not getting much. Always,
Paolo Rossi, Bettega, Baggio.
yeah, Rossi. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with Baggio.
same.
Baggio?
No, not Baggio. He didn't play for Juve long enough to
Pick one.
Del Piero.
Del Piero. Luca, your guess.
Baggio. Just
It's Del Piero. Del Piero, and one goal behind him, Bonaperti. The other player Omar mentioned, Roberto Bettega, was actually fifth on the list.
Oh,
So well done there. And I was a little smirky, wasn't I?
yeah.
This is why he's the king, guys.
You don't ask two questions with the same answer.
How many in the top 5 are from Juventus? Just gave you 3. How
All of
many
them.
in the top 5 all-time goal scorers in this fixture are from Juve?
No, I'll go with 4, and maybe Batistuta is one.
Yeah, I'm
Luca, what do
thinking
you
about the goals, so I'm gonna say 3. Just stick to the 3.
Those 3? All
Yeah.
5 are from Juve.
Oh,
I started with all 5.
how do we
Yeah.
wait? How do we have only 80 something games won against them if we lead the most goals? It makes no sense.
Give me 5 players. This is super easy. We're going to finish on this one before we get to the numbers on today's matchup. 5 players that played for both clubs. You can't use Baggio. Okay. Can't use Baggio.
Okay. So Felipe Melo, Chiesa, Bernardeschi
Yeah.
Boom.
are the most recent ones.
And you can't use them.
Why?
What you can't
Okay.
say that after we said it, Al.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
think
just did.
Polirola.
Cáceres played for both. Luca Toni
Polirola. Quadrado.
Quadrado played for both as well. Yeah.
John Stewart, Vlahovic.
Yeah. Did Polirola play for? Yeah, Chiellini played.
He was on
Okay, yeah,
loan.
there's a lot.
Chiellini came to us from Viola. There you go. You guys
Hey.
did well. You did well. We're going to finish there, boys. We're going to finish there.
Okay.
Hey, great job. Great job.
Great job, Omer.
Everybody
You
in the
did all
live
hard work,
chat,
man.
should we start doing a show that is come on and challenge Omar on trivia and try and take him on and maybe try and win something from our sponsor, Striped Hearts Apparel? Comment in the live chat if we should start our own kind of stump the Schwab type scenario with Omar here. Let's
Put it in
see.
the chat.
I might have to get somebody else to run it though, because I'm smirky and I give hints, and that got Omar fired up. I love it. So the numbers on this matchup, okay, coming into it, very close in terms of what both of these teams generate. Okay, they both average the same, very close to the same at everything per game. 1 goal a game average, 13 shots a game average, possession 50% Juventus, 54% for Fiorentina. Everything's very, very close in terms of that. Even goals scored, 16. Must be noted that Fiorentina has received second amount of most PKs in Serie A so far at 5. Napoli's in first with 7. So Fiorentina, they cause a lot of trouble in the area, mostly off set pieces, and they get a lot of PKs from it. So have to be cautious there. In terms of Juventus, coming into this one, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw in their last 5. But of course, a great display against Zenit midweek. Fiorentina comes in with 2 wins, 3 losses in their last 5. No De Chilio, no Kiel, no Szczesny. Okay, so that's the latest. Szczesny will not be in there, but the lineup is projected to be the exact same otherwise as what we saw midweek. How do you guys think? Okay, what is a PK? Sorry, a penalty kick. Okay, penalty shot. So that's what a PK is. So, guys, how do you feel about this one going into it? Let's kick it off with Omar. Do you think they
Well,
should be starting the exact same lineup as they did midweek? I asked this question yesterday, and my answer was yes, same lineup.
yeah, I might take out Sandro, but other than that, even switch Danilo over there and play Quadrado. But well, if he stays, it's okay. We don't have a lot of options anyway, and it's always easy playing Fiorentina at home and super tough playing them away. I don't know why, um, but I feel like we can win it. Their manager Italiano is a fantastic manager. I really like him, and they have a good team. They have some interesting players who can cause a lot of damage. And I don't know, it's a tough one. I think you will win if we play the same way we played against Zenit. There's no point in just holding back. They do receive a lot of penalties. That's part of their game plan, just overloading the area. So we should keep the game away from our area as much as possible. So I think we'll win. The home advantage is always important. We don't know why, but that's how it is with Fiorentina. And that's about it. Yeah, same lineup. I'm good with it.
Luca, your thoughts?
Um, I think Omar said it in our chat midweek. Don't change something. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And my response was literally like, except Sandro. Sandro's the only person I think compared to the last game I would change. But we all know Max is not going to put Pellegrini on the left. So, yeah, no, keep it the same. I mean, if the boys worked hard this week and kept the same mentality that they did midweek, I don't see too much of a problem. The only thing is, every time we play Fiorentina, they turn into like, their prime team. Like they're incredible every time we play them. I don't know what changes for them. Maybe it's the rivalry, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's just it. You're on the
Mm,
exact same thing
yeah.
Georg's saying here, which is Fiorentina are always underwhelming and underdeliver, but against Juve they turn into prime Barca. And that again, like I said, this rivalry is mostly from Fiorentina's side. Okay, so this is a big one for Fiorentina. That's just the way it is for them. Like the celebration on winning what match week 11 or 12 match against Juve is like us winning a scudetto. Like it's that's where they are, right? Rob coming in here with Tech injured, right? Knock in the ribs, I believe. Yeah, it's just a knock there.
Yep.
Jose saying, to be honest, I'm probably the only one that's on his side, but he likes Rabiot's physicality. Okay, so it's fine. I just believe we don't agree mostly with how Rabiot's used, where he's played and whatnot, and that's the biggest issue. So on the outside, for me, it's clear Bernardeschi is miles ahead, miles ahead. Eric coming in here, he's glad that Allegri went with the same lineup to get some chemistry and stability within the squad. That's big. One of the biggest things I always reiterate, and I've said this even last year with Pirlo. When you get into rotation with these guys, is where it gets crazy. Okay, it's a rotation. It's a rotation that you have to be careful with, and I feel the same way now. You know. And then Eric says just in time to be interrupted by the international break, and he's right. But we have to finish strong. We have to finish strong. Now, John's saying he's worried about the middle on defense. McKennie leaves a lot of space in transition with his runs. Loka covered well against Zenit, but let's see today. And that's a great point is we sent so many numbers forward against Zenit. It leaves you open, but at some point you have to commit. There has to be some risk in order to be rewarded. I broke down this one with another tactical breakdown, and Fiorentina is not the most difficult to figure out. The funny thing is, how they try to hurt you offensively is exactly how you can hurt them offensively. And what they like to do is drag you out from the back and make those runs into the space behind you. We can do that, and we did it well against Zenit. They leave their 4 at the back, Fiorentina does, so that they can transition you quickly. So eyes on McKennie, 100%. John's onto something there because we have to.
Yeah.
Defensively, we can't have our defenders being pulled everywhere and getting caught in that. If they want to drop Vlahovic back deeper to collect ball, let him have it there. That's fine. Midfields regain your space, but keep the defensive line zonal. And I think zonal marking is the scheme against Fiorentina. What they're going to do against us, same thing. If we can drag them out, you have to attack space. Chiesa will be huge in this one. He has to be huge in this one because Morata, if we keep Morata against their back line, it's going to be harder for us to create. He needs to drop back in, and the space that opens up there as they get drug around the pitch quite easily, Fiorentina defensively, as they do that, Chiesa needs to attack in behind. We still have to commit midfielders because it's not going to be enough if it's just Chiesa. So Bernardeschi's got to get heavily involved. And again, McKennie will have to get heavily involved. But this one should be a victory for Juventus. And I'm expecting it to go that route. Now, let's hit it with some predictions. Everybody's favorite time, prediction time. Anthony, get the pen and paper ready, buddy.
I love he's not even in the pod, but we're still making him work. I love it.
Oh yeah, and he's Anthony
like
wears many hats with this team.
Yeah, it was like you.
Oh yeah, book him.
Book him.
Omar,
ready.
You're going last on every prediction because he steals mine all the time.
No problem.
And look at that,
No
Anthony.
problem.
Right on cue. I'm ready. He's ready to go. Possession split between the two teams. I'm going to go with 56% Juventus. 44 Fiorentina. Luca.
I'm going to go 59 Juventus.
Omar.
52-48. Juve.
Wow. Nice. And I was just kidding about you going last. So total offsides.
No, I have no problem.
Make him go last.
Total offsides for Juventus. Omar, how many do you think?
Total offside 5.
5 total offsides. Hey, where's the big bandana in the live chat? He nailed last week's predictions, and now he's not even here. Or the last match, sorry.
He likes.
But yeah, if you're listening live, get those predictions in because Anthony usually records yours too to see who ends up taking the title. Anthony's got 55-45, 4 total offsides. Luca, total offsides, 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking amongst the same lines of Anthony there. I'm going to go with 4 total offsides for Juventus. Which team gets the first card and what color is it?
Oh boy.
Morata's total offsides need to be a separate prediction.
This guy killed me.
Classic. For first card, I'm going to go Fiorentina. And I'm actually going to put it quite early into this one, somewhere around 21st minute, I'm going to say.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fiorentina, 21st minute.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shake your head at my prediction, Luca.
It's way too bold. It's like saying
Well, then
red.
make your own, but don't shake your head at my prediction, man.
I'm disagreeing. Doesn't mean I think it's bad.
I'm just giving you a hard time, man. Take it easy.
I have to.
Right, the last time we played them, Quadrado's red was the first card of the game.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Wow, I forgot about that game. Oof.
You forgot about it. I'll go with 42nd minute Fiorentina.
42nd Fiorentina.
You guys are all going Fiorentina today. I don't know. I feel like it's our boys that are going to be the problem. I'm going to go 56 Juventus.
56 minute Juve.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Total shot attempts for Juventus and how many on target?
I'll go with 12-5.
12 and 5. Okay, Luca.
I was going to do something very similar. Let's make it 10-6.
Okay. I'm going to go 14 and 6. 14 and 6. Drinktastic 20 and 8. I love it. I hope so.
I hope
so. And we said the same thing last time with Big Bandana against Zenit, and then all of a sudden it was just like, what did Peter Ballesteri say? Hashtag storm the barn. A barn storm. It was amazing. Amazing. So we got 20 and 8. We got 12 and 6 from Anthony. We got 13 and 6 from Footy Skills there. So halftime score, gentlemen. What do you think will be the halftime score? Storm the barn. I love it. I love it. Halftime scores. Let's kick it off with Omar.
1-0 Juve.
I'm going to say 0-0 at half.
I'm going to go 1-1 at half. Full-time score, gentlemen. I'm going 3-1.
Wow.
Did I take yours again?
No.
Yeah, we're both going 3-1. That's good. Luca?
I'm going to go 2-1 Juventus.
2-1 Juve. Okay, so we all have them winning.
Yeah.
The goal scorers now.
Okay, I'll go with Chiesa, Dybala, McKennie, and Vlahovic.
Not bad.
The guys are on fire.
I think Chiesa is like a lock today. It's Fiorentina, and he's in pretty decent form. So I'm going to do Chiesa, and let's switch it up a bit. Delict.
Huh. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go.
Wait, do we have to say the Fiorentina one too, or?
No, we don't have to.
Okay.
Omar threw Vlahovic.
Yeah, I do the same thing. So.
He's the only one who scores there, so
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're gonna say Bonaventura.
My 3 are gonna be.
Watch him score now, Omar.
McKennie's gonna get one, and Chiesa's gonna get one, and Dybala's gonna get one. McKennie,
Come on,
Dybala.
It shows exactly mine.
You got you
Exactly.
stole his now, Al. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, exactly.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll change it. We
Change
always have the
McKennie.
same predictions.
No, you can always change McKennie because we always say Dybala Chiesa every game. Okay, the third one is always the.
I'm gonna go with the
tough one.
Chiesa brace and McKennie adding one. So 3-1. Okay, Dybala will get a couple assists. I still think Dybala's going to score. I don't want to ruin my prediction.
He's on one, but they're all on one, right? Like even Bernardeschi.
Okay,
score.
you know what? Yeah, I'll go with Bernardeschi. No McKennie.
Yes,
Bernardeschi go.
Okay,
You
I'll go
can
back
keep
to
your
Dybala,
McKennie.
Chiesa, McKennie, because that's what's going to happen.
All playing safe. Look at Rob. He's calling Rugani. That's a prediction right there.
So Luca's got Pinsolio as one of his goal scorers.
Oh, 100%. I would.
There we go. So way too early, man of the match. Who's gonna get the man of the match? In your thoughts, I'm gonna lay it out there. He's on one. He's gonna continue it. It's gonna be Paulo. I'm calling Dybala as our man of the match.
I'm calling Chiesa.
Sal with Rugani on which net?
Both.
I just mean that is so bad.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, Anthony, good call. I was gonna go with Delict, but you know what? Today, Delict. I feel like Vlahovic is gonna just be sucked into him today, and it's gonna be a one-on-one battle all game.
There you go. Moro's got Chiesa. Omar, you naming your?
Oh, I said Chiesa, but I'll change to Locatelli.
Locatelli, nice. Who's got Chiesa or Paulo? But it would be sweeter if it was Freddie. Yeah, it would be sweeter. There you go. All right, guys. So we've got all our predictions in. We've gone over the numbers. We talked a lot about what Fiorentina is going to do, what we need to do. We got to finish strong. Need this 3 points, okay? And I believe the team will do it. We all seem to believe this is going to be a victory. It won't be easy, though. We talked about it. This rivalry is heavily favored to one side. They treat it a lot different than Juventus treats it. We have to be sharp. We have to be aware. My closing thoughts. I think we are getting things together. It has to all be also be stated that this is the end of the retiro. So the retiro has ended, the retreat, basically the camp, and we will see. You have a lot of the players speaking up about the retiro and just saying, good positive things about it, and reiterating that it's not a one-off. The Zenit was not a one-off. Okay. That was just a part of the statement that Juve need to make. It's kind of unfortunate that the international break comes now, in my personal opinion, because they need to ramp it up and keep it going and have several statement games to follow it up to show that it's there and they're capable of it. Right? I asked this question on the last show. I'm going to ask it again. Do you think that performance that we saw against Zenit is sustainable even when we have to use rotation? Do you think it's still sustainable, in your honest opinion? And I'm going to kick it off with Luke on this one.
That's a tough one. I want to say no, just from everything I've been saying, because I feel like that starting 11 is the starting 11. Like, it's tough for me to see 3 players taking off and continuing the same, fluidity and chemistry. But I mean, if it's 1 or 2, I could see it. But more than 2 players, it's going to be tough. And we know Max likes his rotation. We've seen it in the past, like in the Copa, we've seen him do a full, like B team, which is fine. But in Serie A right now, it's tough for me to say that he could maintain it. It is tough.
Yeah. Omar, what do you think?
Well, it's very hard to create continuity early in the season because of all the breaks. There's a reason why Allegri's teams took shape in December, January. You really started to see them because it's basically impossible to keep playing at that high intensity. And we did see a high intensity game against Zenit, where we pressed a lot. We don't usually see that. I don't believe they can maintain it now when they play 3 times a week and there's injuries and you have to rotate. And players offer different characteristics. So I don't see it, see you maintaining that in the near future, maybe from January onwards.
Yeah. I think John Stewart has a fantastic point here. No, but with a different formation, it could be yes. And I have to agree. The thing is, too, is the amount of rotation. If Allegri eases up on the rotation, it could still potentially be sustainable. But when you start seeing multiple names on there, it changes too much. But again, a different formation could suit different players. Like, if you have to go with a midfield, even though I believe it should never happen, but if you have to go with a midfield that consists of Bentancur and Rabiot at the same time, it can't be where one of them plays the outside role. So you have to have a 4-3-3. In my personal opinion, they have to be as Mitsalas. Cannot have Rabiot as an outside. And then you have to have your 3 forwards. And yeah, those 2 on the wings are going to be relied upon a lot in creation and whatnot. So it changes. But with different formulas, formations, it could work. But right now, yeah, he's found something that's strong. He's got to be very, very careful on the rotation.
By the way, I saw 4-2-3-1. Dybala didn't play as a striker. It was sort of free roaming between the midfield and the attack. So it's kind of what we wanted. It's kind of what we thought would work.
Yeah. Now, last this particular match, I just want to say this on a closing thought. If Morata is struggling, if he's not doing what he needs to pull these defenders out of position to get space for others, a false nine would hurt Fiorentina. It would put a player in a position to really, really hurt them, and it would start dragging their defenders out because that false nine would end up being Paulo.
Caio Jorge.
I was gonna say put Caio, put the kid in.
He could be one of the others too, but he would still be used. It would turn into, your 4-3-1-2.
Yeah.
But false nine would kill them, especially if it was Paulo, because of how they play. The space between the midfielders and defense would be there. Paulo would eat it up alive. Caio would take advantage of space. Chiesa should be destroying them on spaces created today, like he did against Zenit. So I expect the same.
We fully expect
Caio. Everybody's coming in with Caio, Lucci Caio. Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Daniel. Thanks for joining us about an hour late.
Let's see what he can do. By the way, he loves your mustache so far.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
I love when the chat crosses over into the live shows. It's fantastic. But give Caio a chance. Caio could even go wide. There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the Caio train. Hopefully, get some minutes in this one.
You should. He's not there. So
yeah, hopefully we could see him continue. Also, should be said, Max Allegri, a lot of good positive words about Caio Jorge, right? So you love hearing that, especially from Max, who also spent some time this week talking about players who aren't 25, that haven't played in Serie B or whatnot. And of course, this leads to the uproar. And of course, we're going to finish off today's show talking a bit about Max's words. And you love to see it on Twitter, but the battle between Anthony and Rovella Hive continues on, and the war wages on. And Anthony had to pick out, big blow to Rovella, #Rovella Hive on that one when Max said these guys need to grow and things like that. And I want to get your guys' personal opinion and thoughts on what he said in terms of these young guys and too early and whatnot, and just how you feel about it in general. Because for me, I don't really look at I've always felt this way. I don't really care about the age as much as based off what you're seeing. And I've always felt that Juve has made it too difficult for the guys to integrate. And you might look at some other teams and they integrate more, or it's come easier or whatnot for them. But I don't think we can be scared of it. And I don't think there should be a set number where you're like, at 25, you're ready or whatnot. I just don't think that's fair to the players and their abilities. I think every player is his own individual case, and you need to assess it accordingly and not have this, hey, we're gonna stamp you all under this same and put you all under the same umbrella. I think that's wrong. I just want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Let's kick it off with Omar on this one, because Luca looks deep in thought.
I think Allegri just said what is the harsh reality. Like we all want to see a player succeed from turning 19 till he finishes his career, but that's the reality. Players are at their peak mostly at the age of 25 to 28 is their best years, and everyone wants the new Mbappe to find him out when he's young and he's cheap and make him a club legend. But all those teams that let other young players play, how many Scudettos did they win? How many Supercopas in the past 2 decades? Like, Allegri knows what he's talking about, especially more than us, because he's in the game. He sees a lot of youngsters. He has seen a lot of youngsters throughout his career. And if a youngster is good, like Dybala when he came in, then he will play. But he knows what needs to be done with youngsters in order for them to improve and become better. And last year we thought Kulusevski would be the new Robin. Now we're talking about selling him. And in 2 years' time, we might talk differently about him. So I'll go with Allegri on this one. He knows what he's talking about, in my opinion. And that's just the way football is. players reach their peak later and not at the age of 90.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, he has the funny thing about it is he has shown evidence of contradicting himself and playing younger guys at times too, right? I just again when people read how it was translated and that there was this set like hey you have to go through the ranks, but Allegri did speak to it that you have to earn your stripes basically. You have to go through this process or whatnot. And again, there's always exceptions to rules, and players are no different. And we've seen it. We've seen it with Dybala. We had it with Pogba earlier, even though, yeah, I mean, we did. We had it earlier. Dybala, Pogba, all these scenarios around. Caio Jorge is one now that arguably should be getting some more minutes. He is getting some minutes here. We'll see if it increases. That much is up to Morata, who is streaky as hell. And Max did touch on that, and he was right. Once Morata gets one, usually it means there's plenty more to come. Let's fingers crossed. Hope that's the case. Luca, what do you think about the youngsters in general and what he kind of said, and how do you feel about it in general?
Well, you guys touched on everything I really wanted to say. I think Max really shot himself in the foot by using an age. I got like the fixed number 25. That's silly on his part because, as you guys said, both Paolo, Pogba, how many kids we brought up, that came through Max in the past. I mean, we got guys like Lamina, sure he was on the bench, but he was still young, and they still got their minutes with Max. So I think he kind of shot himself by saying that. But what he did mention is that you can't really judge someone, a player, if they're not in his training camp. How does he know? Like, yeah, okay, they might perform on the field for, whatever, it's Genoa or whatever, but he can't say anything until he has them at the Juventus training center under his eye. So I think Max is just playing the game, saying what he has to say for now. I don't really necessarily think he won't play a guy like Ravella if he came in. I mean, look, De Ligt was one of the youngest guys to ever come to Juventus, and there was such a push for him to be a starter, and it was his first time in Serie A. But guys like, let's say, like Chiesa were super young, or we had Paulo came in young, but they all had minutes at other Serie A clubs. So I think it really depends on the conversation, on the position, and really on how Max feels that week, because we know that he can either make the player look like a future star, or he can honestly just brutally destroy them. It's up to him, honestly.
Yeah. Do you guys
Really depends
remember
on
when
the
De Ligt
position.
first came into Juve?
Who?
The kid needed a. Do you remember when De Ligt first started playing for Juve? The kid
Yeah.
needed a straitjacket for a jersey. He was like
Right, and that
ball
was
magnet to the handballs. So
yeah,
unlucky,
yeah.
but he was
But
still strong.
that was not talent though, Al. That was unluck, and
He was still strong. He's
he was still
always been
strong, yeah,
strong.
100%.
The De Ligt, there's never been controversy around De Ligt. The media creates these things,
Yeah.
and there's never been anything there. All the Juventini have always known De Ligt is strong.
Mhm.
Now, this comment is just absolutely fantastic. Max is really good at blowing smoke up
Yep.
players' asses or performing an unsedated colonoscopy, never in between. Avalon, that is hilarious
Perfectly
and
said.
true.
Perfect.
But in terms of Max, I get what he's saying in terms of you cannot judge a player if he can't unless he's in his camp, but that's also not true because that would render scouts completely useless. So it doesn't just hold up. I understand what he's saying from a standpoint of how it affects his team, how it would affect his team. But you cannot deny a guy like Rovella's performances simply cannot be denied. In terms of our team, I've said this earlier and I said it before. I love what the kid is doing. We should not stop that. Keep it going. Don't look at bringing him in January. Let it keep rolling or whatnot. But again, you got scouts for a reason. They scout talent. They see what they're doing and they make their decisions. Max doesn't know how it's going to hold up on his team. You have Ramsey, who has just become fit because there's an international break. Okay. This guy is not even a body.
Why?
But
Why?
again, but again, Rovella should not be broken up from the good that he's doing at Genoa. Keep that train rolling. Assess it at year's end. Are we all in agreement on that? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
of course.
And to touch on that, if you guys do want to, sorry, Omar, if you guys do want to vote on it, there's a poll somewhere on Twitter on my profile. Go vote for either team no knees or team no sleeves. Either have Louis' side or Anthony's side. Pick one.
So Luca's
Yeah.
invited everyone to Twitter to see his poll. Now, let's go.
That was a terrible idea. Sorry.
Everybody, Juve match day. Thank everybody who's joined us with the live. It's fantastic. We got some first timers too who have been following the show for a while and we're able to finally make it live. Thank you. Thanks everybody for the support. Again, share the videos, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget tomorrow morning post-match podcast, same time, 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to recap this one, hopefully celebrate a victory. And again, we have somebody new hosting tomorrow. That's right. Your boy Alberto is going to kick back, relax, maybe after the highlight reel's over, but then relax and let this guy run the show. Who is it going to be? You're going to have to tune in tomorrow, everybody. But again, drop a like on here, subscribe to the channel. As always, Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. Let's go get that W, finish strong, and then head into the international break. Ciao tutti.